Hi, Julia with Be Well Fitness. Working with many clients, I see this very common trend, and I'm going to demonstrate that in a squatting position. As you know, squatting is awesome, and as you know, I love squatting. Squatting is great for the pelvic floor health. It's great for joint mobility in the entire body. There is so much I can derive from the squat about the person's movement habits just by watching them, how they squat down, squat up, and what's going on in their body. So it's an amazing whole body movement. So a lot of times I connect that to food. In food we have macronutrients like fat, protein, carbs, and when we have micronutrients. So that's why the squat is a macronutrient. And in order to get there, we have to have a lot of micronutrients happening throughout the body, starting in the feet, legs, core, pelvic floor, shoulder mobility, and so on. There's a lot that goes into that big macronutrient that's called a squat. Today, I want to talk just about one very common pattern that I see in my clients. And I attribute that to highly to shoes. Because if you look at your shoes, most likely you will notice how the shoes nowadays, conventional shoes, come with this like big toe elevated and kind of like that big toe is stuck in that up position, which actually alters our walking gait mechanics and then also destabilizes us in a squat, for example. That's what I will talk about. So you may want to consider to have a resistance band like this, or just no resistance, maybe a towel, just to make that connection, or eventually you want to progress to not having anything. So, and what I'm talking about is this. So when I work with my clients and their squatting abilities, when they sit back, then they lose their toe connection, and especially the big toe. And you notice what happened. So as I did that, I was off balance. And imagine that you're actually lifting something heavy, like maybe weights or maybe a baby or grandbaby or just a heavy box or moving furniture at home. That's not what we want to happen. We want to have that good foundation in our feet, and especially the big toe pressing down. And I have a lot of different drills for that. So kind of breaking it down and then putting it all together. So for today's purposes, I will show you one tip. So you will have a resistance band, and if you need to go wider, find something wider. And I'm gonna put it into a little bit of resistance. And now I'm gonna press with my right big toe. I'm pulling on that resistance, and I'm gonna press on my left big toe. And now I am really pressing the big toes down without losing my tripod foot. So you want to feel a good connection through the 3 points, and I talk a lot about that. No rolling in, no rolling out. So and if you have that default strategy, that's what you'll be kind of working on or against, right? So I'm fine to go in my squat with this feet width, but you may have to go wider. So which again, kind of variate your props. And now from here, as I'm pressing the big toes down, I'm gonna try to take my three-dimensional breath. Inhale, front side back. Exhale from the bottom up, activating the pelvic floor, lower core, and all the way through the crown of the head. And now I'm gonna start going back and down, finding my squat as I'm pressing my big toes onto the floor. Okay, now everything is connected and everything creates that nice balance from front to back. So just roughly, you may feel a shift of about 60% back into your heels and maybe about 40 into the front. And how low you can go, it all depends on many other factors. So those micronutrients that make this big macronutrient of the squat. Okay, so in the beginning, what you may notice that your toes might be like squeezing and gripping like crazy. You also might notice a lot of effort through your big toe. You just have to find that balance between effort and ease. Okay, and I'm just gonna show to you from the side. And a lot of times what I also see in my clients, especially I work with females, 40 plus, A lot of them have not very good strength at the lower core to control the lumbar pelvic motion. And as they go into the squat, they lose that control by, for example, like anteriorly tilting the pelvic and arching. And as we do that, we automatically get off balance and our toes come off the floor. So a lot of times I see that people kind of put a lot of tension here through the neck. And again, as we go through the neck here, it's going to put us into more anterior tilt. And then we're here, which again takes us off. So there's a lot of little things there. But again, in order to get away from all of that and not to get confused, just focus on this, and that should help you kind of balance things out. So again, I'm going to put resistance, press on my big toes, and I'm really, really resisting. I promise. Just try to do it on your own. I'm going to connect with my breath, three-dimensional, front, side, back. Especially connecting with my lower transverse abdominis band, going all the way around it. Let's say that I'm holding something here or not. Keeping my alignment as I'm finding my position front to back. All right. And I'm still pressing the big toes, connecting with my torso, connecting with my head over the torso, and I'm pressing up to come up. So that's your tip of today, bringing your feet into the big macronutrient of squatting. Change the way you move your body, change the way your body feels.